When a man is reborn as a kobold, he chose a female kobold instead of a beautiful human girl, but chose a female kobold instead. All the kobolds laughed at me for being a fool, but I was the only one who knew. The kobold in front of me is the only female kobold in the world. If you have a monkey with her, I could become the legendary Kobold God. Turns out, I was a modern kobold who traveled with a system. But after 2.5 years of traveling, but the system has not been activated. In this, a new world full of powerful demons. Even humans have their own place. Even humans have their own place in the world. But I was reborn as the dirtiest and weakest kobold. I knew that I had to be strong to survive in this continent. And the only way for a kobold to become stronger, the only way to become strong is to breed and win in numbers. But there are no female kobolds in their colony. So the kobolds can only continue to prey on other races, to reproduce. And I, as a human, I couldn't allow myself to do such a perverted act. And so it was when all of my people swarmed towards the girl in front of me. I stepped forward in time. And the many times I sacrificed my life to save her, made the girl feel a little bit better about me. Because my unusual behavior told her, I'm definitely a mole in the clan. If you can get along with me, I'll have a chance to escape from here. At that moment, I let out a long sigh. I thought that apart from traditional reproduction, I wondered if there was any other way to get stronger quickly. Otherwise I'd be dead if I met a human. When the girl saw my sad face, she said, don't worry. After spending time with you, I know you're different from other kobolds. When the knights come to rescue me, I will tell them that you saved me. The knights have always been clear about punishment and reward. I'm sure they'll agree. They'll agree to let you live in the village. The young girl's words gave me a glimmer of hope. He's right. If I can hold out until the knights arrive, I'll be able to exchange my life for the shelter of the humans. I'll study this stupid system later. But just then, there were loud footsteps outside the cave. I thought they were coming back. I hurriedly told the girl to hide. Soon after, the Scarlet Goblin ran in. The human knights are coming. I want to make love. I want to be strong, or I'll be killed. But as soon as he said that, I cut his neck with a knife. Then I turned my head to look at the girl behind me. It seems that the knights have come to save you. At that, the girl ran towards the cave with an excited look on her face. I followed her silently. Soon after, we saw a human in armor. He was wielding his sword to kill the surrounding kobolds. When I saw his panel attributes, I was dumbfounded. 3-dimensional attributes are 10 times more than those of our kobolds. This is the first time I've seen such strong values. Are these really the attributes of a human? At this moment, a young girl came forward with a happy face. Big Dick, you're finally here. However, the response was a sharp sword from Big Dick. Just in the nick of time, I jumped towards the girl just in time. I was able to avoid the attack. What's wrong with this human? He's attacking one of his own. Was the cave too dark? Did he think the girl was a kobold? At this moment, Big Dick's eyes were glowing with cold murderous intent. Damn it, a kobold dodged the attack. What a shame. At that, the girl rushed forward to explain. Captain, it's me, I'm Celia. Don't you remember me? Big Dick just laughed and said, of course I know it's you. But now you've been defiled by a kobold. Maybe you're even pregnant with a kobold's bastard seed. Then you're no better than a kobold. You will now go to the Great Mother of God and confess your sins. And confess your sins to the Great Mother of God. Upon hearing this, Celia hastened to explain. Captain, you're mistaken. I've been captured. But I was not defiled by the kobolds. He pointed his finger at me. He's the one who's been protecting me all these days. Ask him if you don't believe me. But Big Dick didn't believe me. Instead, he raised his sword again. Do you take me for a fool? How can there be? Kobolds don't violate human girls. You should go to the penance with these filthy creatures. When I saw that, I pushed Celia out of the way. Run. There's an exit. I'll hold him off, I said. I grabbed the wooden stick in my hand and went towards Big Dick. Just when Big Dick's sword was about to cut off my head, I was instantly protected by a magic shield. Then, a clear female voice sounded behind him. Wait, Big Dick, this kobold seems a bit strange. A woman in a white holy robe walked into the cave. She was the spokesperson of the temple, the Holy Maiden Reinlu. Upon seeing her, Celia hurriedly crawled towards her. Holy Maiden, you must help me. After Yanagi helped him up, her eyes fell on me. Kobold, can you hear me? I know the value of this otherworldly virgin. If you want to leave alive, I must have a good relationship with her. So I said I could understand. Then I said I was once a human. Because of an accident, I became a monster in this world. I hope you can take me away from here. I'll explain everything to you when I get back. At those words, Reinlu immediately burst into laughter. Such a smart kobold. Must be a gift from the Holy Mother. Then he looked at Celia. Did this kobold really not hurt you? After getting an affirmative answer from Celia, Rian decided to take me back to the town to study me. She was very curious about me, a kobold who could communicate with humans. She was very curious. And I was very happy. Thank you, Your Highness, for not killing me. I will repay your kindness in the future. But when Lu Rian heard that, but the corner of her mouth showed a playful smile. Then we have a deal. You have to repay me properly. As soon as she spoke, Big Dick behind her stuck a knife directly into Celia's waist. When I heard the noise, I turned back sharply, but the scene in front of me directly made me dumbfounded. I saw that Celia had already collapsed on the ground in pain. She lost her voice. Until this moment, I didn't realize. In front of me, this seemingly saintly holy woman. Inside, she was a real pervert. Soon a week passed by in a flash. Big Dick has gathered all the villagers in the square. The kobolds attacked the town of Light. They did a lot of damage, and brutally murdered over 30 villagers. Even Celia died at their hands. His words. Soon all the villagers were outraged, and all of them threatened. They wanted to eliminate this filthy creature. And then Big Dick continued. The Knights of the Holy Order have already cleared the temple of the. These kobolds have avenged the death of the villagers. Finally, the Holy Maiden Rian Lu stepped forward, and began to radiate the light of the Virgin Mary. Let us continue to pray to the temple. The temple will always protect her people. But when Rian returned home, she immediately changed her face. Today's sermon was a success. The villagers are still as stupid as ever. Now they'll be even more devout in paying tribute to the temple. Just as she was getting complacent, a voice rang in her ear. Rian Lu, you damned bastard. In the past few days since I was brought back to the human village, I've been tortured by Rian every day. She tortured me for fun. Even though I tried to explain that I'm not a real kobold, she still didn't believe me. Now when she heard my angry scolding, Rian Lu laughed in amusement. Kobolds are really tenacious. It's no wonder why the temple couldn't eradicate kobolds from this continent. No wonder the temple couldn't eradicate the kobolds from this continent. Then he said somewhat morbidly, let's see how well the toxin affects the kobolds this time. You lied to me, I said, you lied to me. You lied to everyone. You killed Celia. Is this what you call justice? Is this what you humans call justice? But the next moment, I was gagged by a wooden stick. Then Rian Lu said in a cold voice, you filthy kobold. You dare to question the justice of humans. Celia is under your spell. That's why she dared to speak for you. She has betrayed the humans. Betrayed the order. Her death was his last act of loyalty. You kobolds are the scum of the earth. I, the Holy Maiden, am honored to speak to you. It is a great favor to you. And with that, fire flared up in her hand. You'll use your filthy, disgusting body. You can use your filthy body to contribute to the experiment of the human race and the holy knights. As he spoke, a magic formation of flames appeared behind me in an instant. The heat caused me to scream. I was on the verge of death. I recalled all the tortures I had suffered during this period of time. If I could do it all over again, I would never trust humans again. If I could do it all over again, I would chew their bones. I would have drained their blood. But when I opened my eyes again, I found myself in a state of soul. And the system was officially activated at that moment. Because of your stupidity, you're dead. You've forgotten who you are. How can humans believe and have mercy? Kobold, you died in agonizing pain. Pain that will be seared into your soul. Yours was the worst death of any traveler. You're about to start a new life. Do you want to start over? I was stunned. This system can only be activated after death. But even if I start over, I'm still the lowest of the low. Kobolds. Facing a powerful human. I was powerless against the powerful humans. So I asked the system, what would happen if I chose no? The system told me, if I chose no, my soul would dissipate and I would die. But if you choose to start over, you can take your memories with you. You'll be transported back to the Goblin Cave a week ago. I was overjoyed to hear that. This is a chance for revenge. This time, I will make Rian Lu and Big Dick pay for their blood. So, I chose to start a new life without hesitation. The next second, my soul dissolved into a speck of light and dissipated into thin air. When I opened my eyes again, I was already back in the Kobold Cave. And my whole body's attributes had been strengthened by the system. At that moment, the system sent me a reminder. Although the host has been reborn. But the crisis is not over yet. The human holy knights will arrive soon. If the host dies again, the system won't be able to revive you again. I was immediately on guard. I must think of a strategy as soon as possible. Otherwise, once I face Big Dick and Rian Lu again, I'll still die for sure. So I asked the system what else I could do. The system told me, can simulate once a day. What will happen next? Different choices will lead to different endings in the future. And at the end of the simulation, you can earn points to exchange for rewards. I was so happy to see that. I can't help but feel happy. This means I have a chance to see the future once a day. I can make the best choice. So I started the Sims without saying a word. Escape from the Kobold Cave. Your Kobold Cave was discovered by Paladin Big Dick and his group. In order to escape from Big Dick, you must make the following choices. Choice 1. Join forces with your fellow kobolds to fight Big Dick and his gang. Reward 10 points. Choice 2. Abandon the other kobolds and run away. Choice 3. 5 points. Hide in the cave. Pray that Big Dick and his crew don't find you. I immediately eliminated the first option. Even if all the kobolds in the cave were combined, it's impossible to compete with Big Dick alone. The only way I could survive was to escape. But in order to collect points, I still chose the first option. If I can exchange the points for weapons, I might be able to sneak up on them and beat them. As expected, the system immediately simulated my death. Due to the huge difference in strength between the two sides, the entire kobold colony was slaughtered in 2.5 seconds. It was just as I expected. The kobolds here alone can't survive. But it's good to have the points, so I opened the system store. I'm going to exchange them for weapons. Most of the weapons here require hundreds or thousands of points. I only have enough points to buy a small, ordinary dagger. But compared to a kobold's simple wooden stick, as long as you can hit the vitals, it'll definitely kill you in one blow. Then I asked the system, why haven't we seen Cilia in the cave? Where did he go? In response to my question, the system quickly explained, because the host's rebirth. The details of the timeline have changed. In this timeline, Cilia was not captured by kobolds. She's still living happily in her village. When I heard that, I didn't have a care in the world. I immediately followed the narrowest passage in the cave. I began my escape plan. At the entrance of the cave, there were 2 knights of the Holy Order chatting. The kobolds that escaped are the worst of the worst. I can kill a truckload of them with a single hammer. Don't forget Lord Big Dick's orders. If a girl comes out of the cave, he said to kill them. I overheard their conversation. Damn knights of the Holy Knights for not sparing the innocent. Not to mention a kobold like me. Now I had no choice but to fight them. So I had an idea. I hid in the shadows of the cave. I pinched my nose and mimicked the voice of a young girl. Help! I'm a maiden from the town of Light. I've been captured by kobolds. When they heard that, the 2 of them were instantly energized. Kill the one that got away. Lord Big Dick will surely reward us. And then, one of them came towards the cave with a dagger. Don't be afraid to come out. I'm a knight. I've come to take you home. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a sudden flash of cold. Before he could react, I slashed his neck. Then I rushed towards the other man. But that man was a little farther away. He avoided the fatal wound, but on his shoulder. I made a deep cut on his shoulder. He looked at the fierce kobold in front of him with shock. How could you speak human language? Then he immediately fell to his knees. He begged me for mercy. Please let me go. I have a family. I have daughters who are waiting for me to come back. You're so smart. I'm sure you understand. We're only here under the orders of the knights. We were forced to come here. I can give you another bag of gold. And a maiden, by the way. I've brought you a beautiful human. Maiden, come here. Consider my offer. The man is begging for mercy. But behind his back he quietly drew his weapon. While I was distracted by these words, he swung his weapon at me. Foolish beast. Die. But I was quicker. I slashed his neck. After taking care of the man, I quickly looked at the road around me. But at that moment, not far away from the woods came a loud shout. I could hear Big Dick's voice. Looks like they are not far away. Knowing that I was in a hurry, I didn't delay any longer. I stripped off the man's clothes. I went to the opposite side of the forest. Big Dick, Rian Lu. We'll meet again soon. 2.5 minutes later, Rian and Big Dick arrived here. After Big Dick examined the body, he wondered what happened. Is there a kobold who missed the net? Rian Lu thought for a moment. She said that the kobold that killed them both should be a mutant. At that, Big Dick kicked the corpse on the ground. He can't even handle a mutant kobold. What a loser. And Rian had a perverted look on her face. Mutant kobolds would be so much fun. If I can catch one, I'm gonna have so much fun. The time soon came to night. After fleeing for hours on end, I dared to stop and rest. At this moment, I had a plan for revenge in my mind. Since you hate kobolds so much, I'll deal with you the way kobolds do. The characteristic of kobolds. Kobolds can reproduce and devour to increase their level, while raising their own value, while breeding the next generation to expand their power. In this life I want to keep every man alive. My only wish is to die. I want every woman to moan and wail at my feet. Just as I was thinking, there was a sudden rustling in the neighborhood. I thought the knights were coming, so I decided to strike first. But when I got closer, I realized it wasn't the knights. It was a kobold just like me. The kobold was so frightened by my sudden appearance that he fell to the ground. He was so scared that he fell to the ground. His body was hidden under his clothes. I was able to reveal part of my body. When I saw that it was a female kobold, I was shocked. In my mind, kobolds are only male. That's why they can only reproduce by bonding. That's why they can only reproduce by bonding with other creatures. The female kobold trembled and begged for mercy. The female kobold trembled and begged for mercy. Please don't hurt me. I just came to fetch water. I didn't say a word. I was even more shocked. What's going on? How can this female kobold speak in complete sentences? At that moment, a panel of information appeared in front of my eyes. Female kobold. Profession. Divine messenger. Become a female kobold. Fallen god. Pure soul. Divine blessing. Skill genetic devouring. Wild growth. If a male kobold is united with a kobold, he can become the legendary Kobold God. When I read those words, I could hardly stop myself from screaming. Damn, Kobold God. The name alone makes me feel like an asshole. When the female kobold saw the look on my face, she was terrified. She cried and cried, explaining that she was really called by the team leader to fetch water. If she couldn't get water, I'd be beaten to death by the team leader. I patted him on the shoulder. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Don't cry. If you keep crying, you'll attract Big Dick's gang. After hearing my words, the female kobold was also stunned. The reason why he was ostracized in the pack is not just that he's weak. He was also unable to communicate with the other kobolds. So, he was curious and asked, "Can you talk too?" I nodded my head. At that, the female kobold took me by the scruff of my neck. "You're so sweet. All the other kobolds just beat me and yell at me. It's the first time I've ever had someone take such good care of me. If you have nowhere else to go, come back to the tribe with me." I said yes immediately. Now, I'm not sure if Big Dick and his men are coming after us. We need to find a place to stay first. Then we can complete our glorious evolution with the female kobolds. I may even be able to recruit some men to help me get my revenge. It's like a 1-2 punch. 2.5 minutes later, with the female kobold leading the way, we arrived at her tribe. There were dimly lit campfires and a scattering of leafy huts. There were probably hundreds of kobolds as far as the eye could see. And my arrival aroused the other kobolds. They were all barking at me. Why is he wearing human clothes? I've never seen anything like it. It was this freak who brought him here. I stepped forward. I said, "I'm here to join you. Let me meet your boss." And when I heard that, all the kobolds around me got their weapons out. This guy wants to meet the boss. Let's capture him and send him over. When the female kobold saw her clan members about to attack, she put me behind her. At that moment, a hoarse, cold voice came over. "What are we doing here? Who's making so much noise?" I followed the voice. I saw an old kobold trembling out of a gray and black shack. An old kobold stepped out of a gray and black hut, trembling. Around his neck was a string of bone ornaments. In his hand was a scepter made of a human skull. The old goblin was 25 years old. His profession is a ritualist called a breeding machine. A cunning old man. Blessed by the gods. Skill genophagy. Call to thorn control. My pupils shrank when I read the message. I didn't realize that in this small tribe. I didn't realize there was a kobold of such a high level in this small tribe. Big kobolds is just a generic term. They include kobold warriors, kobold assassins, kobold priests, and swift kobolds. All of them have a base level limit of 30. And on top of that, there's also the heroic, mutant, chief and king kobolds. The overlord and king kobolds. The kobold priest smiled grimly. Pointing at the female goblin, he asked, "Are these the outsiders you brought back?" After receiving an affirmative answer, the kobold priest's scarlet gaze turned to me. "Good. Kill this monster. Eat him." The kobolds that received the order rattled with excitement. They surrounded me with their weapons. I drew the dagger at my waist. "Wait, I can make weapons. Let me join you. I can make you stronger." At that, the kobold priest ordered his men to stop. Then he walked slowly to me, and sniffed me with his black nose, and sniffed me again and again. I didn't smell like a liar. "Tell me what weapons you can make." The higher the level of the kobold, the more intelligent they are. The more intelligent the kobold, the more human they speak. I waved the dagger in my hand. I found the iron ore. I'll be able to make a simple iron weapon. Given time. Not just the dagger in my hand. Even a weapon more powerful than this one. Can make it. As long as the tribe has iron weapons, we'll be able to fight against demons and humans. Hearing that, the other kobolds were excited. Of course they knew what it was. It's the tool that the humans used to kill them. This thing bleeds when you touch it. Can even leave a man with a missing arm or leg. With iron, we can attack the elf tribes in the north. And we can attack the elf tribes in the north. And bond with them. Kobold priests. He knew the importance of iron. Then he let out a sharp laugh and said, "Okay, I'll give you a chance. You have 3 days to find an iron mine. And make the iron weapon. I'll spare your life. If you don't, I'll kill you." Then he pointed at the female kobold. He pointed to the female kobold. And she too. After the kobold priest had said these words, he returned to his hut. I went to help the kobold. The old man was a vicious one. He's gone mad even against his own people. I can't fight him now. I had to make some iron weapons to slow him down. Then, under pressure from the kobold priests, I took some kobolds to the valley, in search of iron ore. After a day and a night of traveling, the thin female kobold was exhausted. She wanted to stop and rest first. But the leader of the kobolds kicked her to the ground. Fuck you, you ugly thing. I'll kill you if I don't find the iron ore. Then he kicked and punched the female kobold. When I saw that, I grabbed a rock and smashed the leader's head. You're here to help find iron ore. You're not here to fight. I've already told you what the iron ore looks like. If you want to live, you have to find a piece of ore, or you'll all die. Seeing the weapon in my hand, a couple of kobolds were shaking in their boots. He's trying to kill us with an iron weapon. Get out of here. Damn it. When we find the iron ore, the boss won't let you go. I know what that means. Even if I make an iron weapon, I'll be ostracized in the tribe. It's only a matter of time before I'm killed. It's time to think about improving my strength. I remembered the introduction of the female goblin system panel. If I combine with it, I can become the legendary Kobold God. I came to the female kobold side. I wiped away the tears on her face. Kobold girl, will you be with me? As long as you are with me, I will protect you from now on. I'll feed you meat. I'll give you a warm place to live. No one else will dare to bully you. Hearing these words, the female kobold asked with a look of anticipation. Can you really do that? I answered seriously. I'll keep my word. But we are too weak now. I need you to help me get stronger. The kobold was a bit confused. What do I have to do to make you strong? I approached him. I looked at him with deep affection. If you become my wife, you can make me strong. When the kobold heard that, his face turned red. Okay, I promise you. 2.5 seconds later, the system sent me an alert. The host will have 7 children with the kobold in the future. Raise the level limit. Due to the qualification. Attack +9, life value +400, defense +10. Originally my level limit was 10. But after having 7 children in the future, I've increased my level to 7. In other words, the more children I have with Kobold Moon, my level limit will increase. In the future, I may even exceed 100 levels. The more offspring I have, the stronger I'll be and the higher my ceiling will be. Then I picked up the robe from the ground and put it back on the female kobold. From now on, you're mine. I will protect you for the rest of your life. At that moment, there was a scream. A kobold ran away with the iron ore in his arms, followed by a vicious wolf. I told the kobold to wait for me. I took out my dagger and rushed forward. Just as the kobold was about to die in the wolf's mouth, I leapt up. I plunged my dagger into the wolf's loins. The wolf struggled for a moment, finally died. I looked at the saved kobold. Well done. Give me the iron ore. When the kobold heard that, the kobold raised the iron ore to me in a panic. I looked at it. I smiled with satisfaction. The color is not bad. Find some more. We'll make weapons for you when we get back. 2.5 days later, I used the iron ore to make a simple piece of iron. Then I attached them to a wooden stick with twine to form a sharp iron spear. I wielded the iron spear and tried it out. I easily pierced the body of the wolf. When the other kobolds saw this, and screamed with excitement. With weapons, the whole pack will be stronger. Then they can attack the elf tribe and get married to an elf girl. Then I raised my iron spear in my hand. Do you want the spear? Do you want an elf wife? Listening to the cheers of the surrounding kobolds, the kobold priest's face darkened. He would never allow his authority in the tribe to be affected. So he slammed his scepter on the ground. You're not lying. You really can make iron. But it's not that easy to stay. You must make 50 of these weapons in 2 days. And with that he turned and left. And when the other kobolds heard the chief's words, they screamed, "Boss, you're just as bad as the humans. We'll help you make weapons." At those words, the corner of my mouth showed an imperceptible smile. This is the effect I wanted. 2 days passed quickly. I worked tirelessly. I finally finished making 50 weapons. Many kobolds were excited and celebrated around me. At this moment my prestige in the whole tribe. I was far more powerful than the kobold priests. The kobold priests, however, uncharacteristically smiled. You did it. Very well. Tonight we will celebrate with a feast of meat. Join us tomorrow. The koboldess handed me a roasted boar. The priest reserved it for you. I took it and ate it straight away. But not even 2.5 minutes in, my pupils suddenly dilated. I showed a pained expression. Then my whole body went into convulsions. Collapsed on the ground. At that moment, the kobold priest came over with his scepter. Ha 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 ha, what a fool. I thought you were so smart. Outsider. Don't think I don't see your ambition. You dare to challenge the authority of this priest. You'll only end up dead. With that, he grabbed the kobold in his hands. He laughed strangely and spoke. You care for him, don't you? Then enjoy watching this traitor. How he cuts off his head. Let's see how you feel about yourself in front of me. As the kobold priest spoke, he scratched the skin of the kobold with his sharp nails. But I didn't realize that the next moment, there was a sound. His arm was suddenly cut in half by me. The kobold priest looked at me with disbelief. He looked at me who was unharmed. How come you're okay? I laughed. You're the one who's stupid, aren't you? You're an evil old man. I'm not stupid. I know you've got a death wish for me. How could I not be prepared? I was just playing along with you. The kobold priest's face was dark and gloomy when he heard that. He used his left hand. He pulled off the skeleton necklace around his neck and threw it toward me. I dodged the blow with a sideways movement. And then I came to the other side. The dagger in my hand was raised high. I slashed at the kobold priest's neck. With a rush of blood, the kobold priest's head tumbled to the ground. The reason why I won so easily. Not only because after combining with the kobolds, I was able to increase my attributes, and the fact that the kobold priest as a mage-type demon, it's not good at melee combat or defense. When the surrounding kobolds saw this scene, they were all trembling with fear. I swept my icy gaze over them. From now on, I'm your new boss. I will lead you to attack the elves. Attack the humans. I'm going to attack the elves and the humans, and there will be plenty of meat to go around. The kobolds hesitated for 2.5 seconds, and shouted, Boss! Boss then. I pointed to the body of the kobold priest. This is yours. The kobolds heard that. The kobolds immediately swarmed and began to eat. They devoured the priest. They ate it all. I just watched the scene quietly, with a look of anticipation in my eyes. Conquering the kobolds is just the beginning of my revenge. I'm going to let the elves breed a stronger next generation for my tribe. But what I didn't expect was, this scene was seen by the elf princess Cassandra in the dark. So she returned to the elf tribe to report. The elf tribe is located in the north in the forest of the elephants. There are many huge trees growing here. Their trunks are often more than 10 meters thick. The elves like to carve out wooden houses. They cut out wooden huts to live in. Not only do they have a place to stay, and a place to hide from their enemies, and the elves were good with bows and arrows. The elven tribes were easy to defend and hard to attack. And that's how the elves stayed in the forest. For thousands of years. And in a tree with a trunk almost 20 meters thick. On a huge banyan tree 100 meters high. An elf is speeding from cabin to cabin. Mother, I have something important to tell you, Tatsuyama said and pushed the door. What she saw inside made her blush. She saw the blonde queen of the elves. Was lying on the bed. She was comfortably enjoying the service of several male elves. The blush on her face hadn't gone away yet. When she saw the scene, Cassandra shyly lowered her head. She quickly apologized. I'm sorry, I have to go now. The elf queen's voice was very mature and gentle. She called out to her with a soft smile. Wait, child. You're looking for me in such a hurry. Is there something urgent? Cassandra reported the matter of the goblin's disturbance. Cassandra told her about the kobold's disturbance. This morning, I found a black and brown bear. I found a gnawed black and brown bear in the forest near the east. The elf queen was surprised. That such a thing deserves to be noticed. After all, one black and tan bear can have a devastating effect to a tribe of elves. And Cassandra continued. According to the hunting trail at the scene, there are many kobold footprints all over the area. It's very likely that they did this. Black and brown bears. Almost the most ferocious creature in the forest. It's not possible for a kobold to kill a bear of this level. It's impossible for kobolds to kill a demon of this level. A few days ago, I saw the old leader of the kobold tribe was killed by another young kobold. The kobolds may have something to do with him. When the elf queen heard that, a look of contempt on her face. A new leader? It seems that the number of kobolds in the forest has almost recovered. Cassandra, take a few of your people and clean up the kobolds. But don't kill them all at once. Remember to leave a few alive. The heart of a hobgoblin is a good tonic for the male elves of the tribe. The heart of a flayed kobold is an excellent tonic for the male elves of the tribe. Yes, mother. Cassandra nodded her head in agreement. Cassandra was about to leave the house when she was stopped by the elf queen behind her. My good princess, you've worked hard these past few days. Is it enough for mother to reward you with a male elf tonight? If it's not enough, there's more. Cassandra blushed at her words. She left in a hurry. Mother, I'm going to do some more exploring tonight. I'll report back if I have anything to say. The time had come. A few days later, in the middle of the kobold tribe, one of the kobolds was telling me. A branch is a treehouse. There are about 30 elves in the Lin Tian forest. The huts are all very, very tall. I said, yeah. Good job. I'll reward you with 2 elves. 2 elves. Thank you, Mr. Boss. Long live the boss. I'll tell my men to get their weapons ready. The kobold leader who was sent out to spy on us. He was screaming with excitement. He was twisting in his knickers. And I began to think about my next move. 30 elf huts. According to the average of 2 elves per hut, there are 60 elves. Plus the 10 or so in the Or stronghold. There are at least 70 of them. Each elf has a combined strength of about 250. Since the death of the kobold priest, I've been leading a tribe of kobolds to mine and make weapons. Hunting demons to level up. The kobolds have a unique skill called genophagy. They can devour powerful creatures to become stronger. In just 2.5 days, the hordes of kobolds has killed 3 second-ranked magical creatures, the demonized wolf, the giant tusked pig, and the earth monster lion, as well as first-level demons such as the tailed cat, ghost-faced monkey, and two-headed snake. At the same time, we have also gained their energy conservation through genetic cannibalization. In addition to their iron blood and wolf nature, kobolds also gained the additional skill of giant teeth. The teeth can grow bigger and bigger. The longer they grow, the more powerful their attacks become. Then there's materialized skin. It increases your base defense by 15 points. It's like wearing plate armor. Most importantly, the abilities of the first-ranked demon ghost monkey and the tailless cat, climbing and confinement, when attacking the elf tribe, played a crucial role in the attack on the elf tribe. The rest of the abilities are basically of little use. For example, the two-headed snake's ability to secrete venom, after the kobold's devouring skill. The overall level of the kobolds has increased, because of their numbers. The horde's overall strength has surpassed that of the elves, although I'm very confident. But after all, it was a sneak attack on elf territory. Cautiously, I used the system to simulate the attack first, to see if there will be any accidents. The goblin simulator has been activated. The current storyline is the night before the raid. I lead an army of kobolds with greatly increased strength. I'm going to attack the elf tribe, and I was sure of success. But I was ambushed by the elves. The kobolds were led into a trap and shot. And I was captured by my elf grandmother, and hanged in the forest of the elephants. I thought it was a perfect match. In fact, it's all in someone else's hands. 0. What the hell is going on? I was shocked. I didn't think it would fail. I thought I had it all figured out. In fact, it was in someone else's hands. When I came back to my senses, I immediately thought of a possibility. The tribe is being watched by the elves. Kobolds have a good sense of hearing and smell. As long as you concentrate, you should be able to find some clues. So I looked around the horde with all my concentration. And I found it. A small movement hidden in the grass in the distance. If I'm right, it must be an elf sentry. After realizing she was exposed, Cassandra immediately took the male elf with her. Cassandra and the male elves began to flee to the distance. These kobolds are trying to attack the tribe. I didn't realize how much this tribe had changed in just a few days. This tribe has changed so much in just a few days. I had to get back to Mother as soon as possible. And I can't let him escape. To send a message, I immediately took out my homemade bow and arrow, and coated it with a paralyzing toxin and shot it. Cassandra, who was running away, and she was shot in the ass. Suddenly feeling the pain, his face turned red. But he couldn't help but scream. Soon the other elves were also hit by arrows and fell to the ground. I chased after them with my kobolds. Cassandra was already weak from the toxin. She could only watch as she was captured. I never thought I'd catch a female elf. So I smiled. I ordered my men around with satisfaction. You guys showed up just in time. Take her to my room. At those words, Cassandra's face was ashen. She knew that, in the hands of the kobolds, her life would be worse than death.